Hey guys, what is going on? It is RC Knockout and I am back with another video. Now if you are new to my channel, my name is Nolan. In today's video I've got my TRAXXAS X-Maxx out with me. Now this is the one that I just recently installed the PNW RC Madness belt drive system in. And if you watched the first test video on this, I was at the sand dunes in Michigan and we had tons of issues. One of the issues was it kept on hitting thermal protection mode, so the green light was blinking on the ESC. The other issue we had was I think the pulley was starting to come loose, this motor shaft pulley. So there's two pulleys on this belt drive system, one that goes on the spur gear shaft and then one that goes on the motor shaft. Now it's only made for an 8mm motor shaft, so the stock TRAXXAS X-Maxx motor won't work with this pulley system because it has to have 8mm motor shaft. So I ended up putting this 1100 kV 5687 Hobbywing brushless motor in, which is a huge can motor, strapped a Castle dual blower fan on top. I've got that mated to my Hobbywing Max 60 ESC. So I thought maybe the reason why it was hitting thermal protection mode is because this is a 1/6 scale ESC trying to push around a huge 1/5 scale motor. But I still felt like it should have the power to do so. So one of the changes I made since the last video is I went back into the ESC and changed a few of the settings. I changed the thermal protection mode from, I think it was 221 degrees up to 257. So, you know, it'll get a little bit hotter before it kicks in, so hopefully we won't have that issue. The other thing I went ahead and I changed in ESC is I changed the low voltage detection. I turned it from auto intermediate down to auto low, just so if we have any spikes from a huge voltage draw, that it won't trigger low voltage mode. So I don't want to turn it off altogether, but that's the other change I made. But as for this pulley right here was starting to come loose because there's only 2 set screws on these pulleys holding them. And the issue with the bottom pulley is, since it's on the spur gear shaft, the stock spur gear shaft does not have a flat part because it just has a pin for the cush drive system. So I had to actually use my Dremel and grind a flat part onto that spur gear shaft. And I used red thread lock to tighten that grub screw right onto that flat part. So that's not the one coming loose, but it's the one on the motor shaft that's starting to come loose. Even though there's 2 set screws, only one of them is up against the flat part. And I did not use red thread lock on the top pulley because I know I need to get it off on a fairly regular basis. So I just used blue, but I retightened that back up. So I'm crossing my fingers today, since we're not in the sand. I figure it also puts more strain on the ESC and the motor being in sand with sand paddles. So today we're just out at a local park. I'm running 8S again, the exact same battery, 6500 milliamp, 4-cell, what are they? I'm using bubble wrap just to take up some of that space because these don't fit in there perfectly. As you can see, there's a pretty decent gap underneath the locking mechanism. They're Yomi power, 6500 milliamp, 60C discharge rate. But yeah, so I threw these tires back on. We're going to test it today. I'm hoping we have better luck, because if we don't have better luck today, I'm going to end up swapping this out. I don't know if it's overgeared, because they did have 2 different options, which I'm going to leave a link down below. They had a 25. I don't know if these are considered teeth or what it's considered, but this top one right here is a 25. I guess you call it 25 tooth or 25 spline. And the bottom one's a 30. They did have another option for a 20 and a 30, which maybe would have been a better option for gearing wise, because this might be over geared as well. That might have been the reason why I was hitting thermal protection so quickly. But I don't think I'll probably spring for that. If it doesn't work out in this video, I'm probably just going to transfer over to a 1.5 mod gear, which is what I probably should have done to begin with. But I thought I'd give this a try. Also, I do have concerns about the belt maybe not being tight enough, because I have this motor on this aftermarket motor mount pushed up as high as I can get it, and there's still not the most amount of tension on that belt, so I'm worried the belt could be skipping. That might have been part of the issue last time too. I don't know. It doesn't look like it's been skipping or anything. I don't see like signs of belt material that's like worn off, but we're just gonna have to see. So let me go ahead, get her powered up, and we'll get started testing it. Alrighty, I got it all powered on. Let's see if it works. Crossing my fingers it does. Otherwise that was a waste of 50 bucks or so for that belt drive system. You can already, like when I start to give it a little bit more throttle, you can almost tell it's almost, I don't know if it's a clicking, I don't know if that's not enough tension on the belt, I don't know exactly what the issue is. But you hear that? It definitely shouldn't be doing that. still getting the power down, but that noise is not confidence inspiring. Maybe it's the belt slipping? Because I can't imagine those set screws have already come loose. Around the tree. Bring her back on the power. She's a beast. And body flew off. Let's get her put back on. All right, try this out again. You know what? We should get a launch in. Gotta do a launch. Ready, get it. Yeah, it definitely doesn't sound right. Let me know what you guys think is going on in the comments down below. Do you think that's a belt slipping? Or do you think it's the pulley somehow like chattering? I don't know if the set screw could have come loose a little bit, but it's not completely like spinning because obviously it's getting the power down. But there's clearly something going on. I don't know if the set screw could have come loose a little bit and that pulley's just moving a little bit because it's almost like a little bit of a chattering noise. It's hard to explain. And there, it just cut the power. Did we already have our first issue with thermal shutdown? Let's go check. And sure enough, green light's blinking, which is thermal protection. So even though I turn that temperature up, it's still tripping it. So maybe this thing's over-geared with this pulley setup. Who's to say? I don't know. I might let it cool down a little bit, try it again, but would we get 2 minutes of bashing in? Not even. And it's already hitting thermal protection mode. So that's kind of frustrating. Belt's pretty warm. The pulley's pretty warm already. Gotta let the ESC cool down and then we'll try it one more time. All right, let it cool down a little bit. Let's see if we'll have better luck now or not. Let's do a flyby. Body flew off. There, just hit it again. Gosh, this is frustrating. Well, either way, I'm still going to release this video so you guys can kind of see what my experience is with this belt drive system. The second test with it. Now, I don't know if I had a Hobbywing Max 5 in here, if there'd be less heat issues, because maybe this could be a combination of running an ESC that doesn't have enough power to push around a motor this big. I don't know if the motor's just drawing too much, or if the gearing is too much with this pulley setup. I just don't know. But either way, this seems to be a bust. I don't know. I can't tell. It doesn't look like the pulley's moved at all. The top one's the only one I'm worried about. Since I used red thread lock on that bottom one, I don't think that bottom one is going to move. I don't know. I can't tell what that noise, even if it didn't have this overheating issue, it's still not confidence inspiring, that noise that it's making, which I still can't tell what that noise is. Because as you can see, the belt still looks completely intact. The belt, the teeth, or whatever you want to call it. Is that side piece supposed to spin like that? Because that piece right there is just spinning. I didn't notice that before. Interesting. Does that bottom one do that too? Bottom one's on there solid. This backside doesn't do that either. What the heck? What's going on with that? I never noticed before that piece moving. That's just a side piece that keeps the belt from coming off though, so I don't think that really plays any role. That could be where some of the noise is coming from though. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you guys on this. They do make their own mount, P&W RC Madness, which is the brand that makes this kit. Makes their own mount, which I don't know, since I never actually bought that mount, could possibly allow you to pull the motor further away from the other pulley and actually put more tension on the belt, because that is one of my concerns, that there isn't quite enough tension on it, because as you can see when I pinch it together, there's not a huge amount of tension on that. Now, I don't think it's slipping though either. least it doesn't appear to be. But we're having some sort of issue. So, and we still got the green light blinking. You know, guys, I was about to put this thing away, but then it occurred to me, maybe this is my own fault, because I guess I wasn't paying that close of attention, but I want to show you something real quick. Alright guys, here's the thing I want to show you real quick. When I turn on the ESC, I didn't realize the fan on the ESC is not working. That could be a good reason why it's overheating. Didn't even notice that. Last time I checked it was working, but I guess I didn't look that closely at it. But yeah, as you can see, that ESC fan is not working. That very well might be why. So I don't know why that's not working, but then the other thing I noticed this fan blade right here on the motor's not working either. So we only have one blade working. So maybe I will have to bring this back out again. What I might actually do is I might actually drill some different holes on these inserts right here so we can pull this motor slightly further away and put more tension on this belt. And then the other thing I think I should do is I should mount up a fan, whether it be zip tied on here and maybe get another dual blower fan on top of this, because clearly heat right now is our enemy. And that's why these videos haven't been working out, I think. So, alrighty guys, I am back home. I want to show you what I decided to do. What I ended up doing was I actually drilled a hole in this insert. So this insert right here has two sets of holes in them. But unfortunately with those inserts slid all the way up, I couldn't put enough tension on this belt. And I think maybe that noise was coming from the belt not having enough tension on it. So I actually drilled a new hole up higher on this insert. So now the motor is pulled pretty darn far, and I actually maybe have too much tension on this belt at this point. I don't know if you can see that, but the belt has very little give to it at this point, and you can hear when I drive it. Now that still doesn't fix the heat issue. So obviously I point out at the park that fan on the ESC is not working, and this fan on the motor is not working. So we have one fan working, but I was able to put a lot more tension on that belt now. So you can actually hear the belt, and the belt actually slows the machine down. So it might have too much tension on it. Then again, maybe that belt might actually start to loosen up a little bit too. Who's to say? Like, there's still a little bit of flex to it. It's not like completely stretched out, but you can see there's not a ton. We took away a lot of that extra play, but you hear that? So that's all belt noise now. Whether or not it's supposed to sound like that, I don't know. But then when you really start to give it throttle, it sounds all right. You can just hear the belt now. Like, to me that sounds all right. Like, maybe a little bit too much tension, but I'd rather have too much than too little tension. Because now I'm not hearing that noise. I'm not hearing that clicking, that chattering noise I was hearing before, which must have been the belt coming loose. Because when I actually checked, that pulley, that set screw was still tight. So the issue is not with the set screw. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think it's too tight? Do you think I should run it like this, see if the belt loosens up? Then again, if the belt's too tight, it could actually snap too. The belt is pretty warm. I don't know. I might just leave it like that, test it out. I suppose I'd rather have it too tight than too loose. I decided to mess with it a little bit more because there at the end, right after I got done filming, the thing started stuttering, like shuddering. So I don't know, there could have been too much tension on that belt. So I actually went back, took the pulley back off, loosened these inserts up a little bit, slid it down the tiniest bit. So there's a little bit more play in this belt now. Not much, but a little bit more. So we're gonna see, just pushing it sounds a little better. Doesn't sound like there's as much tension on that belt. So let's try it out again. I mean, you can still hear the belt. Oh yeah, I can tell that's a lot better because as soon as I take my finger off the throttle, it still continues rolling. So there's not as much resistance. The belt was slowing it down like crazy before. Now totally off the throttle. As you can see, it's still rolling along pretty good. All right, I feel a lot better about that now. You can hear the belt still slowing it down a little bit. There's still probably quite a bit of tension on that belt, but I loosen it up where I feel a lot better about it now. I think I got it set pretty good. I think I got the tension set good. We just got to figure out keeping the heat down and keeping that ESC cooler, and maybe we'll actually be able to bash this thing. Oh yeah, I'm feeling a lot better about this belt drive system now, guys. Maybe third time's the charm. All right, well, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll have this out again once I get some cooling fans on that ESC and on that motor. And then maybe this will work out. Cross our fingers that the third attempt is third time's the charm. But anyway, thanks for watching. See you later.